from the Bex Theater on the campus of the George Washington University. A special edition of Crossfire. On the left, Mike Kinsley. On the right, John Sununu. Tonight, the case for invasion. In the Crossfire, Republican Senator Trent Lott of Mississippi and Democratic Senator Dennis DeConcini of Arizona.
Good evening. Welcome to a special Crossfire coming to you all this week from the George Washington University. Just 90 minutes from now, President Clinton will address the nation to make his case for an American invasion of Haiti. That case has 4 points. First, ending brutal human rights abuses by the military junta that overthrew Haiti's elected president 3 years ago, including thousands of political murders, rapes, and torture. Second, ending the wave of refugees who have poured out of Haiti since the military coup, heading for the United States. Third, defending the principle of democracy in America's own hemisphere. And fourth, maintaining the credibility of the United States and the United Nations. Are those good enough reasons to put American soldiers' lives at risk? That's the debate tonight in the nation, in Congress, and on Crossfire. Unfortunately, though, one of our senators hasn't shown up yet. Oh, we just got word that he's just arrived. He probably didn't know. He didn't know how to get to George Washington University, but he'll never forget it now. Meanwhile, we're going to start with Senator Lott. Senator Lott, as I explained last night, I'm not enthusiastic about this invasion either. But oh, here's Senator DeConcini. John, why don't I turn the floor over to you?
Hey, Michael, he did this for effect. I mean, senators know how to do these things.
Your timing was impeccable, Senator.
Just fine.
Can I start with a question to you?
I don't know.
I
don't know about you.
Or did you just come to watch?
I just came to listen to you.
Well, really, the issue is using U.S. power in terms of policy and trying to get a result that the president says is an imperative that we have to fulfill. But the fact is that one of the reasons you should, or that ought to be used as a criteria as to whether you should use U.S. power, is whether or not the national security interest of the U.S. is at stake. I asked this question of Congressman Rangel last night. What is the national security interest of the U.S. involved in an invasion of Haiti?
It's exactly what George Bush said it was when he was president about Haiti. I've got the quote right here I can read to you. He said
the second sentence after that quote is that we should not use military force.
No, it is not. It is not. And I have it right here if you want to read it. And it says that the national security of the United States is at stake because democracy is at stake here. Just like it was in Grenada, just like it was in Panama, just like it was over in the Persian Gulf.
President Bush was very careful in his speeches there to say we should not use military force.
No, he did not rule out military force. I take exception to that. He did not rule it out because he wouldn't have made that threat if he was not going to use military force. He didn't want to use military force. Either does Bill Clinton want to use military force. But we use it as the last step, the last thing that you do. If you don't have the courage to do it, then you shouldn't talk about democracy. You shouldn't be out there pushing it. We used military force in the Persian Gulf when there wasn't even an elected democratic government that was overthrown.
Why then?
Rightfully did we do that.
Why then?
We did that in Grenada when there were 300 American students there that knew it was dangerous. Here we have 3,000 Americans.
Well, there were other factors in Grenada, too,
That's
Dennis.
true. That's true. Just like there are other factors here.
Recognizing that the president has the right to send troops into Haiti, why doesn't, without a vote of Congress, why doesn't he get a vote of Congress to reinforce the political base that he would need in order to convince the American public?
I believe in the War Powers Act, and I have voted that way, and I will vote. I wish we'd take a vote. I'm not afraid of a vote. I don't know how
Why
it
is
turns
the
out.
president afraid of a vote?
I'm not sure that he's afraid of a vote. You haven't said he's against. I haven't heard that
the
he
Democratic
says he's
leadership in
Let me
Congress.
ask you, John.
The Democratic leadership in Congress has prevented that vote from taking
that's
place.
a lot of baloney because the Republicans want to make it a partisan issue, and that's what they're doing. You tell me that if Ronald Reagan was president or George Bush, and he was talking about using force in Haiti, you think the Republicans would sit back and say, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that.
I think they'd want a reason to do it.
I remember that there were some Republicans, including John McCain, who was very much opposed to sending the Marines into Lebanon. Turned out he was right, too. Republicans have spoken up on issues like this.
Indeed, and you're correct about Bosnia. They spoke up against it, and John McCain is one of them. But I didn't hear John McCain or you or anybody else on the Republican side talking about don't go into Grenada, don't go into Panama, don't go into Libya, and don't go into the Persian Gulf. It's just the other way. And because the president has the right to do it.
Grenada and Panama were on much shorter fuses than this president has made Haiti.
That's very true, but not the Persian Gulf.
The Persian Gulf, the president did go to Congress for a vote.
He also insisted on it. He didn't have the vote until the troops were already there.
That's
he
right.
insisted on his right to invade, whether
We had a full debate. We did have a vote, and even you said he did the right thing, although belatedly, I believe you said.
He did the right thing, but he also insisted that if the vote had gone against him, he was going to invade anyway.
And I think that's probably the case here. As a matter of fact, what's pending before the Senate is a sense of the Senate resolution. It's not binding, but it would be in the president's best interest.
But Trent, let me tell you, what's really going on here is the partisanism here. The Republicans are pushing this. The Republicans are pushing this.
To the question, because I didn't interrupt you, but I want to say, look, I think it would be... What? I thought you did the question. I do think it would be in the president's best interest and the country's best interest that we have a full debate on this, and in fact, take a vote, and he could very well win. Remember, the Persian Gulf vote was not assured at all, and it wound up being 52 to 48. It was pretty partisan. I think you'll find, and you know this, Dennis, there are Democrats that are opposed to an invasion, and there are some Republicans that might even vote to allow it to go forward. Once the case has been made. The case has not been made.
Well, the case is going to be made tonight. Let's back up a little bit. You know, in the lead up to the Gulf War, George Bush didn't just talk, as John was talking a while ago, about American security. He said that in the post-Cold War era, this is the beginning of a new world order where America, as the sole superpower, can defend democracy and promote human rights around the world. Now, if we can't even do that in this tiny little country that's right next door to us, was that just a lot of guff?
Well, no, I have to say this, that those comments at the time didn't sit too well with me, as a matter of fact.
Did you say something at the time?
Here's the question here. I think it's a mistake for us to go back and say, you know, we should have done this in Grenada or Panama or the Persian Gulf or Lebanon. The question before us tonight is, should we have a military invasion in Haiti at this time, and is it in our national security interest? I believe it is not. I believe the American people think it is not. There are other things we can do to help move that situation along. And I'll listen.
Let me give you the answer by asking...
Well, I'd like to hear them.
I do think we should lift the economic embargo.
Now, wait a minute. Let me say this. How is that going to force these guys out? The economic embargo.
One of the things he lists is the immigrants or the refugees, depending on how you describe it, that are coming into the country. You know, we've had about 20,000 of them this year, but until President Clinton changed his policy, it only been like 2,300.
Make your case against the invasion, and as I say, I'm probably in agreement with you. However, to say that lifting the embargo will create pressure on those generals to leave is absurd. It's a backward step. Come on.
Another step is to go forward with a commission. Put Bill Gray in charge. Hey,
how many commissions?
Hey, Dan Rather.
Another commission in this country?
Hey, not in this country. A group like Kissinger, like the Kissinger Commission, that would go down there and talk to these people and work with these people. Dan Rather's down there talking to Cedrus right now.
Give me a break.
Dan Rather's doing more than this administration is doing.
Let me get Dick back out there.
Dan Rather doesn't represent the government of this country.
But the point is, he's there. He's talking to
Ronald Reagan would have laughed in your face if you had said, we have an important interest there, but we're not going to use military force. We're not going to threaten military force. We're going to promise not to use military force, but we're going to send a commission.
It was Ronald Reagan. Wait a minute. It was Ronald Reagan that sent the Kissinger Commission to Central America to help solve that problem.
He didn't send any commission to Grenada or to Libya to help solve that problem. He acted like a president.
He acted precipitously. He went right in there.
Do you think the American public thinks Bill Clinton is acting like a president?
That's not the issue. You don't look in the polls. You're always criticizing, John. Bill Clinton. No, you're always criticizing Bill Clinton because you say all he does is look at the polls and which way is the wind going. This guy's doing what he thinks is right. Just like Ronald Reagan did what he thought was right. He had the courage to do it. This guy has the courage to do it. Let him do it. Maybe it's a mistake.
So what's he going to say tonight to the American public to convince them that we ought to sacrifice American lives to go in and restore a government in Haiti that when he was there, Aristide condoned deck dissing, for example?
I wasn't privileged to be a presidential assistant as you have, so I don't know what he's going to say. We're going to see that tonight.
If he doesn't convince the American public tonight, should he go into Haiti?
Of course, you have to take some leadership in this country. You have to do some things that sometimes the Congress doesn't want. Bob Dole was quoted on just that. You can't do it by commission. You can't do it by committee. Dole says, seeking the failed coup attempt against Noriega, he said that's silly. He goes on, he says, Dole, during the Panama invasion, I think my own view, the President of the United States has to make the final decision. The primary thing is not pleasing the members of Congress. It's protecting the American lives in this area and restoring democracy.
Maybe you can agree that both Democrats and Republicans have flip-flopped on this question of whether the president can and should and ought to get
let me emphasize this. First of all, you have not heard me on the floor on this issue being critical.
You haven't heard me either.
No.
Well, let's hear you both now.
No, I'm going to listen to my floor.
I think he has the authority, clearly, to go in there without our approval.
I think you're wrong about that.
Well, I think he does. But I think it would be clearly preferable to his advantage, in the best interest of this country, to have this thing fully debated, discussed, and see if there are not other options. I hope and pray he will not make the decision to have a military invasion this weekend, because there are other ways to deal with it.
You haven't named one yet. Name another one.
Well, I mean, how long a list do you want?
Name
the question is this going to solve this problem?
He did name one, and that's lift the embargo.
Lifting the embargo, which is a step backwards. How's that going to get rid of them?
I still think to have people to go down there and talk to Cedrus and see if some arrangement can't be worked out short of a military invasion.
There's got to be a way to entice Cedrus.
Well, I thought Bill Gray was going to go down there. How about Colin Powell? Let's let Colin Powell go down there and do some negotiating.
You think Cedrus is going to care
Let's
who
let
we send?
Schwarzkopf go. He'd fix it.
Yes, I think he does. Let me ask this, Senator.
Be serious. If you want to say it's not worth it, these people just have to suffer, there's nothing we can do about it, you know, that's a respectable argument. We can't be the world policeman.
It is not worth it.
But to say
we
can
put
send
American lives on the line for this issue. We shouldn't spend $700 million to $1 billion for this invasion based on the circumstances we see. And we're going to put Aristide in there? So, I mean, look at his record.
His record is of the best human rights record in Haiti's of any government in history. Now that's pretty much
not saying very much, Michael. And the speech that they showed on CBS tonight where he's endorsing necklacing is ridiculous.
He gave one unfortunate speech where he endorsed necklacing. Meanwhile, he hasn't necklaced anybody. These thugs have killed 3,000 people.
That's right, 3,000 people.
They're killing orphans in the streets.
They're raping people, they're mutilating people, they're murdering people. They killed a priest just last week.
Then if the issue is so self-evident, why is the Democratic leadership blocking a vote in the House and blocking a vote in the Senate?
I don't think they're blocking a vote. I think
when are we going to get a vote? Why don't we have a vote
I'm not the leader, Cheb. I'm ready to vote anytime. We couldn't vote today. It was a holiday.
We could have had a vote this week. It was clearly blocked by, and certainly not desired by Senator Mitchell, who, by the way, has an awful lot of quotes over the years saying that clearly the president should come before the Congress on issues like this when there were Republican presidents. He's talking about partisanship.
He should come before the Congress, but I think the Republicans want to hurt Bill Clinton. And they don't care what the cost is.
Let me tell you what in this case...
You've got a majority in the House and the Senate. How is he going to get hurt?
He's going to get hurt.
All he needs is the support of all the Democrats in the House and all the Democrats in the Senate, and he's home free.
Your own party can't deliver all the votes, and the crime bill is a perfect example.
Dennis, the best thing for President Clinton is not to go forward with this invasion. So I'm not advocating hurting him. I'm suggesting he not do it. That he pursue other avenues and have a debate on it and have a vote on it.
And take a pause, and when we return, Mike and I will give this audience a chance to pose some really tough questions on Haiti. Stay with us.
What's happening?
The world of teenage fashion is Washington. It's one tough town where only a few have an inside line to the movers and shakers. Margaret Carlson, Time magazine, one of the select group of journalists known as the Capital Gang. Saturday, 7 Eastern on CNN.
Welcome back to Crossfire. In a little more than an hour from now, President Clinton addresses the nation from the Oval Office to make his case for intervention in Haiti. Tonight, we're debating the president's Haiti policy with two U.S. senators, Democrat Dennis DeConcini of Arizona and Republican Trent Lott, a member of the Armed Services Committee. Mike?
Thanks. And the first question is for Senator Lott, and it is from Jean Charles from Massachusetts, although originally from Haiti.
That's right. Mr. Aristide was elected by 67% of the Haitian vote, in a field of about 12 candidates. It's like taking away the election from Reagan, giving it to Walter Mondale. It's more than a landslide. People have been killed, children, men, priests, supporters of Aristide. George Bush and Mr. Baker went to the OAS. Bush didn't go, but he sent his Secretary of State. It's going to be short. Mr. Baker said the coup would not stand. We used diplomacy. We used embargo. Why not use force now to get them out?
Thank you. There's your
I just don't believe that you can force democracy on that situation. I think you have to continue to use diplomatic pressure. I think you have to continue to work with them. I think an invasion is going to wind up, obviously people are going to get killed on both sides. There has got to be a better and a different way to do this, and I don't believe we've exhausted all of our options. But certainly, for us to go in with a military invasion with Marines and Rangers, the way it's being advocated and suggested right now, is not in the United States' best interest, and that's what we have to be concerned about.
Alternative.
Question for Senator DeConcini from Paul from Richmond.
Yes, Senator, can you honestly say now, without saying that they're in our hemisphere, Haiti is an interest to us, that it is not a zero-sum game regardless how we look at this in Haiti? Because it's devastating what could happen down there.
Well, let me just read to you what George Bush said about the Haiti coup. This constitutes an unusual, extraordinary threat to the national security, foreign policy, and economy of the United States. I agree with that. And I think it's time. You cannot talk about democracy and principles that we espouse in this country for almost 3 years now towards Haiti, and then when the time comes, back away.
Should we go into Cuba?
Well, of course we shouldn't go into Cuba.
What's the difference? What's the difference?
They have not, John, you know the difference. They have not had a free election there. And if they had a free election and they elected Castro, that would be the case.
All the more reason to go.
Oh, what do you mean? All the more reason to go. I mean, that's absurd. That's absurd. That's absurd.
There, we have political interest there. You certainly have atrocities there. And,
but you'd never have had free elections there.
There are a lot of people in America
and you know
that
that's
like
a lot
democracy in
As
Cuba.
this gentleman just said, they had free elections there. You said they were free. Everybody in the
So the best way to protect yourself if you're a despot is not to allow free elections.
No.
That's a great formula.
The best thing.
That's a great formula.
The best thing for the United States is to talk about democracy, promote democracy, and then insist on it when it has happened, and it has happened
You're telling Castro that as long as he doesn't allow elections, he's free from invasion.
George Bush thought it was good.
John, Fidel Castro is free from invasion from the United States with either party in office and any conceivable candidate. I'm sure Senator Lott would agree with that, right?
What?
You're not advocating an invasion of Cuba.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I don't think we're invade Cuba or Haiti.
Alex from Pennsylvania. Go ahead.
Senator Lott, you mentioned cost as being one of the reasons why you would not support an invasion. I'm interested to know what you think the cost would be for not helping Haiti in terms of immigration in the United States, the cost to citizens of Florida, if we continue to see the refugees pouring into that state.
As a matter of fact, I think we had like 2,300 refugees or immigrants that came in the United States last year, and we'd only had about an equal number before President Clinton changed his policy. I believe it was last week in June, and that's when the flood started. So I do think we need to try to deal with this, the flood of immigrants. I think that the embargo is contributing to that because we're hurting the people we would really like to help. Does anybody think that Cedrus is suffering under the embargo? He's not.
Do you apply that logic to the embargo against Cuba, which has been going on without any impact?
As a matter of fact, this is going to shock you, Michael. But I think it's time that we take a dramatic change in that area. I'm not for cuddling up to him, but I do think that the best way to bring down Castro faster is to get in there and have trade and communication and cultural exchanges. The free enterprise system is what will bring him down faster than anything else.
Did you say that? Did you say that? Once again, I have to wonder whether you said that when the Republican
last week, and some people were shocked when I said it, but it's the way to go.
Question from Dan from Arkansas.
Senator DeConcini, do you feel at all uneasy about advocating American force to install an advocate of terrorism who many observers feel is mentally ill?
Well, many observers may feel that way, but that's not the facts. I've met with him, I know him, I've seen the doctor's report, I've seen the intelligence reports, and that is not the case. And you may not like him, but he was the freely elected person in that country, and we said we believe in that. We believe in free elections. We want democracy. That's what we want in this hemisphere. That's what George Bush said. That's what Bill Clinton says. Now's the time. Are we going to stand up for the principles or not? Are we going to walk away? We're going to say, oh, we're for it, but don't count on us. No, we've got to stand for democracy and the principles. We're going to start a policy now, Dennis, where every place where somebody that is democratically elected, we're going to go in with a military force to put them back in if they're thrown out for whatever reason. If we're espousing the change of that government, if we're assisting in the change of that government, if we and the international community, the United Nations is supporting it, then we have to be prepared to do something.
Where does that stop?
All right, that's a rhetorical question. We're out of time. Stops right now. That's right, John. Thanks very much, Senator Lott. Senator Deconcenini. That's it for you guys. The audience and John and I will be back in just a moment.
Time flies when you're having
Sunday, it's the mystery that has riveted a nation. An American Idol charged with double murder prepares to face a jury. CNN reviews the case of the Simpson murder mystery. CNN presents Sunday, 9 Eastern.
As you know, I'm not happy about this invasion, but I do have to sort of laugh when I hear Republicans like Senator Lott saying there are other things we can do to liberate Haiti from these thugs. Lifting the embargo is certainly not going to do it. That's a step backwards in terms of putting pressure on them. Sending a commission is a laugh, and sending Colin Powell instead of Bill Richardson is a laugh. If you're against an invasion, which is a perfectly respectable position, probably my position, you have to say, it is simply not in America's interest, and we're just going to allow those people to suffer because we're not going to do anything about it.
But Michael,
face up to it. Be honest.
The inconsistency here is that what you have is a case analogous to a fella grabbing hold of you, jumping off a building, and at the 33rd floor saying, okay, wise guy, what are you going to do now to prevent an accident? The fact is, this president, we would never have gotten into this situation if Bill Clinton, with his rhetoric, had not elevated it to this point.
What would George Bush have done to get rid of those thugs?
There's 150 ways.
Name two of them.
Name two of them. One is more pressure from our allies in the Caribbean and in Central and South America.
What kind of pressure are they going to put on if we're not going to put on any?
The second is to encourage a free election in which Aristide steps aside and allows the democratic process to work with someone besides this madman.
Encourage a free election with no pressure and tell the one guy who won the free election he can't run.
Because this man gave up on democracy when he was president.
Crossfire.
And from the right, I'm John Sununu. Join us again tomorrow night when we have another special edition of Crossfire here at the George Washington University.